Peace is always stronger than war because peace heals. However it's accessed, what does it really do? What's really happening when we access that? War just tends to tear things up. But peace heals. That's why peace is always stronger than war. And that's on every single level, whether it's out in the regular world or somehow metaphoric or just what's within, the war is within, the peace within, the healing that comes from within. From my perspective, it doesn't matter really the source of the peace, whether it seems to come from outside or comes from inside or anything of the sort. And that's only because, from my perspective, there is only one ultimate source, regardless of where it seems to come from. And I don't have a better word for it than the divine. So whether we connect to that divine within ourselves, or we seem to first connect to it from some source that's outside of us, it doesn't really matter. It's still divine. It's like that peace is a light that shines into our mind. And when it shines, it just illuminates what's really profoundly true. And it's in that light that we see what's true. And when we see it, we essentially make a choice. Do we follow what we see to be true, or do we follow something else? And so there's a way in which there's a moment, an inner moment, in which we make a choice about which way to go. The vast majority of time, that's a choice that's happening in us that's essentially unconscious, subconscious. It's frequently buried. We frequently make that choice in a way that's so buried that we forget that it's even a choice. Or we've made the same choice in a way that's so deeply buried that we forget that we had a choice in the first place. And it's just become sort of an old habit, and so habitual, in fact, that, again, we've sort of forgotten that there was even a choice to begin with. But when that light shines, when that light of peace is shined on that, then we have this remarkable moment in which we get to make a choice, maybe even what seems like a new choice. But it's a choice towards what we've come to see as false, or what we know to be as true. And so the pathway always, always, always ends up being essentially a turn from what was proven to be false to something that's true. So there's a change in perspective, there's a change in mind in that we go from oriented in one direction to a different direction. And when we do that, we let go of the old. And when we let go of something old is when something really shifts. It shifts towards more peace. And peace, again, is always healing. And so what is healing, really? It's being oriented towards what's true and letting go of what's false. And so even healing, actual healing, whether it's psycho-spiritual healing or physical healing in some fashion, on some level always involves a change of mind, a change of perspective, a change of direction, a change from some kind of hanging on to something that's essentially untrue to something that's true. It doesn't really matter the form that that takes. Whether that involves some kind of something we might call energetic healing, or healing that came by sitting in a hospital bed, being attended to by other people. If healing's happening, then it involves in some way, even if it's on a deep, deep level, even if it's on a subconscious or unconscious level, it represents a change in mind. something I find extraordinary and marvelous and beautiful about that is that what it means is that our minds have an enormous amount of power. We have an enormous amount of power. The divine in us, the divine mind in us, when we touch it, has an enormous amount of power. And so it always ends up a journey of shedding the false and shedding what's untrue and cozying up a little more and a little more to what's most deeply true with a capital T. It also means that, most marvelously of all, maybe to me, that divine is one. And if it's one, then the divine in one seeming separate mind is the same as the divine in another mind. And it's that sameness that makes it possible for the divine in one to sort of shine into the other. See that it's identical. See that it's the same. It is like that beautiful Zen image of the light of one candle connecting to another candle. And they may be both lit, but there's no way in which one candle detracts from the other. In fact, one candle can inflame the other, but without any loss to the original. It's such a beautiful metaphor of how healing happens, how it's possible for anyone to connect to their own peace and then walk into a room and, like that candle, on some level, the peace in their mind shines into the minds of others, even if it's on a very subtle level. And what really is happening there? The divine in one meets the divine in the other. And even if on a conscious level, the humans involved aren't paying much attention to this, it's simply as if that divine touches itself. The divine in one touches the divine in the other, sees and knows it to be one single divinity. And sometimes that alone is how healing happens, whether it's on, again, a psycho-spiritual, or we could say energetic level, or even a physical level. It just means something somewhere was let go. Some little grain of falsity gave way to something that was true. And we all end up pointed a little closer to home. In a way, it's very simple. And it always starts with connecting with our own peace. Maybe it doesn't seem easy to our regular human selves, but there certainly is a simplicity to it. So here's a simple little prayer to every seeming separated soul in all the universe to connect with their own peace. Know that it is the divine, that divine is absolutely one, and that it's what leads us home and leads us towards healing in this journey of letting go. May you come and drink from these waters and know the peace that passeth all understanding. Amen. Peace be with you, my friends.